Ink-a-dink, 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 ink-a-dink. Wow!
You know, you gave me a funny look 11 hours ago, 11 and a half hours ago now, since we did our, since we taped our Friday night show. All right, it's not Sunday morning, but we're still going to say it's Sunday morning. Blessed Sunday morning. Welcome to Basil BuddhaCat Presents. I'm David Stevenson, Basil's co-host, interpreter, and chief gopher. And Basil and I are having this discussion. He gave me this hairy eyeball Friday night, 11 and a half hours ago, because I took a piece of gum of his, tasted it. I gotta admit, it was hideous. It was stink gum. It was horrible. So I took it out and threw it away, and apparently Basil caught an attitude because I, first of all, took the gum without asking, and second of all, tasted the gum and then threw it away. Hey! Then we went through this Friday night. Oh, by the way, welcome to Basil BuddhaCat Presents. We went through this Friday night, and I'm trying to talk to Basil. You're in the way, Stephen. Okay, now, Stephen Colbert, from the Colbert Report, retired, eventually going on, or says he's eventually going on, to take over for the Late Show, taking over for David Letterman. But on the way there, and he might become a permanent fixture here, and that way, I don't know, come the end of May when Letterman's supposed to leave, he may just have to find another replacement, because Colbert's found himself a comfortable spot here, except for, Stephen, you've got to go up to the hammock. Okay, ready? Okay, hold on. I'll fly you up there. Yeah, that's got a little bit further that time. 3 feet away from the table rather than just off the edge of the table like on Friday night. So Basil and I were having this discussion, and he's a little miffed about the fact that he had a piece of gum lying here. Took it without asking, put it in my mouth, found it to be pretty rotten tasting gum, and threw it away. Now he's starting to snicker a little bit because he's go ahead. He said better make sure your life insurance policy's in order in the next half hour because I'm going to need some extra cha-ching if something ever happens to you, my peasant co-host. What do you think I'm worth? Said, so whatever you get, whatever the amount of the policy is, just make sure it's in my name, that he's the beneficiary, that he gets the money if anything should happen to me. And that's crazy. I don't know. I'm not sure what this is all about, but at any rate, we're in the new year. It's 2015, and we've been we passed the 3-year milestone of Basil BuddhaCat Presents, and going into a new year, 2015. And he says now he knows that Oriental calendars don't run concurrent with European calendars. So, it's a different year, it's a different number, it's closer to the Hebrew calendar in terms of numbers numbers of years that have been with us. But I thought I saw Oswald Cobblepot meandering over here. We'll get him on the show eventually. He'll be up here eventually. We know we will. Walter, I guess she got her 42nd work week in before we got on the show Friday night, so not even a speck of dust moved around on the table. So going forward, even though it's not the Chinese New Year, Basil has proclaimed that going forward, 2015 and every year going forward is now going to be officially the year of the cat. The rest of the animals, they can take a hike. Says, here's his quote. He says, says, with all due respect or undue respect to Elsie, the cow, to Snarky, our camera dog behind the camera, to Tweety, our bird, our assistant producer to Christian Schoenfeld, to the pig, unnamed, and to all the horses down on the farm in Ridgefield. Horses down there, crazy goats, Alice and Trixie the pigs, not to be confused with our own pig in the audience. Going forward, all those animals have been discontinued. They're all discontinued stock, apparently. Still livestock, but discontinued livestock. So every year going forward now, 2015 onward, has been proclaimed the year of the cat, or the years of the cat, if you will. So, okay. So what, are we doing news today? Are we doing interviews? Are we doing on-the-phone interviews? Well, give me a clue. Okay, who's ever on the line, Tweety, check this out, but who's ever on the line said what we need to do is we need to use Bill Murray's proven technique and do this. Okay. Oh, okay. I want to try that again. Okay. Okay. Blessed Sunday morning to you. Welcome to Basil BuddhaCat Presents. And whom do we have the pleasure of speaking with? Tweety? Okay, well, it's from the hereafter, which we might have expected when we used Bill Murray, who's today he's up in the hammock with Stephen Colbert. They're sharing it. So, whom do we have the pleasure of speaking with? Well, Tweety's already advised me who it is. We want to know if you know who you are. Okay. Okay, our guest has acknowledged that they are, in fact, Joan Rivers. Okay. From the hereafter. Thank you for calling in. Would you prefer me to call you Joan or Ms. Rivers or... She actually called up because she wants us to talk to a good friend of hers, fellow comedian Soupy Sales. Now, Soupy's been on the show before, but he's never been on the Sunday morning show because his jokes tend to be a little bit on the bawdy side. And not to be confused with the internet term bawd, but bawdy as in blue, as in a little unscrupulous, a little bawdy. So he says he's got an honest joke for us. He says he's got a joke that's not improper at all for our Sunday morning broadcast. Okay, he said that it's a agricultural joke. He said that well, it says it's also a baseball joke because Basil's a big fan of baseball. It's our favorite sport. I mean, just because we had our shows on about a year ago about the Super Bowl, or was it the Superb Owl? He's not sure. It was something about some game played in the Audubon Society at the New Jersey Meadowlands, and it had a lot of players that were that apparently had bird-like names like Petrel Manning and the rest of them. Says, okay, so you have a joke, and yes, I promise that you tell me the joke, that I will trust you, that it's not a bawdy joke, and I will quote you on it. Okay. Soupy says he went to the baseball game last year. Okay, which game? He said, don't ruin the joke. So he went to the baseball game with his girlfriend Peaches. And do you mean Joan Rivers? Was she with you? Was Joan Rivers with you? I mean, she handed the phone to you to talk to us. He said no. He said Joan knows about this, and she heard about it, and she got a chuckle out of it, so she wanted Soupy Sales to share this with us. So Soupy Sales goes to the baseball game with his girlfriend Peaches, and they're close friends. I mean, they've got a romantic relationship going on. All right, that's okay. We'll allow that on the air. There's no problem with that. Even though we occasionally say, "What the?" We don't mean it in that way. We don't mean it in a sexual sense. We mean it in a profane sense. Okay. So he goes to the baseball game with his girlfriend Peaches, and he says, "Here comes the punchline." Says, I kissed her, meaning Soupy, I kissed her in between the strikes, okay, and she kissed me in between the, we lost our connection. Soupy, are you there? Basil, we lost our connection. Okay. You know what, I'll bet we lost the connection, because certainly a more important caller in, and the most important caller in we ever get nowadays, ever since she passed away. And she'll call in. And should I? Okay. Lil, are you there? She is. Okay. Now we're going to go for the Daily Double. Lil, are you there? Basil, she's there too. Okay. Now we're going to go for the trifecta. And for you, well, I can't say horse racing anymore because horses are no longer on the calendar. For you cat racing fans, trifecta is when you pick all three. First place, win, place, and show in the same. I think that's what it means. Win, place, and show in the same race. Okay. And she's there. Want to say hello? Okay, we can't put her on speakerphone, but we're gonna set her down so she can join in the conversation as she will. And well, now we can't get Soupy back on to finish off his joke because he went through with the joke. The beginning of the joke was that he and his girlfriend Peaches went to the baseball game, and he kissed her in between the strikes, and she kissed him in between the, and then we lost him. So at any rate, okay. Still there, Lil? Okay, she's still there. Okay. So, I mean, what are we going to do today? Are we going to have a news story, or are we just going to have A talk show. Are we gonna? Who's? Oh, you're gonna play somebody different again today too. Well, last Friday night, Basil played. Basil played the role of. Was it Kim Jong Un or was it Cat Jong Un? No. Basil says that the ceramic cat is actually Cat Jong Un, and it's still here, still with us, on loan from the. She ran away. Okay. Apparently, she absconded from the lap of Kim Jong Un, or as Western fans like to say, Kim Youngin. And so Basil played the role of Kim Jong Un, and the ceramic Basil, who's played many roles on the show before. John Roberts' cat in a previous episode, the cat that lived in both the George Zimmerman and the Trayvon Martin household, and a couple other shows we did. And this cat, this Basil, this ceramic Basil is playing the part of Cat Jong-un, or Cat Youngin, for you folks that like to use the term kitty. Okay. So, you're going to play a different role now. Okay. Well, you don't have a pipe. You can't do it without a pipe. You can't do it without that that checkered hat of, well, I forget the name of it, what kind of hat it is, but the Deer Slayer hat, I think it's called. So you can't do it without the pipe. You can't do it without the Deer Slayer hat. And Basil says, says, I'm going undercover. And I'm playing the role of Basil Rathbone Holmes. Oh, I saw that movie. Yeah, Sherlock Holmes' smarter brother. Basil is giving me the squinty eye and saying, said, no, actually, Sherlock Holmes is smarter cat. Basil Rathbone Holmes. And he goes on to say, said to me, before I keel over, he wants to do a story called Who Killed the Cat? Okay. Okay? Okay, he's going to tell a story now. And he says he might leave out a few minor details about this story, this Basil Rathbone Holmes story that Arthur Conan Doyle claimed to have written, but Basil says, screw him too. Basil wrote the story and that's it. End of discussion. So, okay, now Basil's going to tell a story. Okay, and as he says it, I'll translate it. First in the cat, then we'll go back and we'll translate it into English. And by the way, Basil's up to 98 languages now. He's got his Espanol down perfect. He says he's got his 98th language under his belt, and it's about time that the speakers of those 98 languages learn to speak cat. And kids, you at home, absolutely, and parents of kids too, and Colbert, Murray, all of you. Well, Murray's asleep now, but said you kids out there in the audience and at home need to learn to speak cat. And why do you need to learn to speak cat? Well, in case you hadn't missed it the other 300 times we told you, there are more households in America that have cat as their second language than there are households that have Italian, Greek, Portuguese, Spanish, Mandarin, any language, you name it, any language, Gaelic, Hebrew, you name it. There are more households out there in America that have cat as their second language than all those other languages combined as second language in a household. So, kids, get off the shtick, get off the schneid, and learn to speak cat. You owe it to your house cats. Okay, now, we're going to go on, and Basil's going to tell us the story that he claims that although Arthur Conan Doyle said he wrote it, Basil Rathbone Holmes actually wrote the story. Okay. Meow. 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 Okay. Now I'm going to translate it into English. Okay. The end. I might have left out a couple of parts. Okay. Oh. That's it? That's the story? The end? Said, look, I go to write a story, and I get started, and I'm sitting there for hours, and somebody comes in and steals my gum, and get all kinds of great ideas, and start to put them on paper, and then writer's block sets in. So all you got for us is the end? Said, no, actually, here's the punchline, not only for the story that he wrote, that he, Basil Rathbone Holmes, wrote for Arthur Conan Doyle. Not only is it the crux of the story, but it's also the punchline for Soupy Sales' joke. Because apparently we haven't gotten Soupy back on the line, and well, we've got Lil on all three lines, so we're probably not going to get Soupy back on the line today. But okay, you ready? Said here's the crux of the story and the punchline from Soupy Sales' joke. Balls. Okay. Got me. Okay. So, he says he's got to do some news too while he's here. Says he saw in the store the other day, he saw a T-shirt that he had to get a copy of. He had to get they made him in his size apparently, so he got one, and he hasn't got it on now because it kind of rubs his fur the wrong way. But he says the T-shirt said, "I gave $4 billion to Republican candidates, and all I got was this lousy Koch brothers T-shirt." Okay. And with that, I think that we're about, what? Said, said the 12 hours are just about up, and
Okay. Basil says, don't look at the back of my head. I'm losing my hair prematurely. Did I say that right, Basil? Said, all right, enough. Stop. Yeah, you got it right. Okay. Okay. Got some extra balls. Is that like having an extra ace up your sleeve? Said, yep, that's my ping pong parlor, right? Oh, hey. So you got your Paws root beer, and you got a doubles partner. Look at that. How about that? Stephen T. Colbert is Basil's doubles partner. They say they'd rob your grandma blind on Wall Street, on Wall Street. Fritter her away her Medicare on Wall Street. And Pharma Oil and their pet fox don't care if she lives in a box, so long as they wear platinum jocks on Wall Street, on Wall Street. Meow.